and welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our brand new die set, Build a Critter Bug costumes. These adorable costumes fit both our Build a Bunny and our Build a Fox, and they are just the cutest thing ever. They are in addition to all of our other costumes that we have for the bunny and the fox. We have winter, Christmas, Halloween, spring, Valentine's Day, and now we have these super cute bug costumes. With these costumes, you can build a bee, a butterfly, and a ladybug. So that's the body. There are some stripes, wings for both the butterfly, the bee, and the ladybug, and little details for behind the butterfly wings. We have little antenna, a cute little flower that they can hold. Those are the ladybug wings and the little things you layer behind, and then a little puff for the butterfly. I'll show you how those all go together, and then little tops for the antenna. So let's go ahead and start building all of these cute costumes. And here you can see the top pieces are for the bee, the middle for the ladybug, and the bottom for the butterfly. So we're going to build the bee first. We're going to layer that body base behind the stripes to create that black and white striped bee. And then here you can see how you can layer that right over those cute wings. And we cut those wings out of vellum so that they felt like real wings. We're going to add little drops of glue to the top of the antenna and then layer on these little ball pieces that have kind of the cute stitch detail. And we've done that out of yellow too. Then for the ladybug, we're going to flip the wings over and we're going to add some liquid glue with the glue tube, and we're just going to layer that all behind the wings, and then we're going to put these little backer pieces to fill in the spots for the ladybug, and these wings are so cute. Here you can see how those wings layer over the body part of the costume. And these are the antenna again, but now we have added the little details there in red cardstock to go along with the red and black of the ladybug. Next up, we have the super cute butterfly wings. Oh my gosh, these costumes, they're just so cute. They just make me smile. And so what we're going to do is we're going to add some liquid glue behind the butterfly wings, and then we're going to layer the backer piece behind that to fill in the color. And we're doing orange and black so that it's kind of like a monarch butterfly. And then you can take the body piece and layer that in front of the wings. And then you have the cute little antenna. And then we have this like little puff, little neck puff that you can add to the top, which is just so adorable. There's also this super cute little flower included in the set. There's a flower base and then the one with the whole detail. We're going to layer the base behind there, and then we're going to layer the little leaves behind the flower just like that. Isn't that so cute? And you can like add that into the little critter's hair, or they can be holding onto the flower, or you can use it to help set your scene. Next, we need some cute critters to dress up. So we're going to be using both the Build-A-Bunny and the Build-A-Fox. And the Build-A-Bunny and the Build-A-Fox can work with any of the costumes, these bug costumes and any of the other previous ones that we've come out with too. Now here you can see we've die cut the pieces, and if you've never made a Build-A-Bunny or a Build-A-Fox, make sure to check out those intro videos. We will link it in the description below. And so we're just layering all of the pieces here behind the fox's head, and then onto the body, the cute little detail of the tail, and also the detail on his feet and on his paws. But you'll see that we're not attaching the arms or the head just yet, because now we are going to dress up these characters. And what's cool is the bee can be the bunny, the bee can be the fox, the butterfly can be the bunny or the fox. Any of them can wear any of the costumes, which is really great. So we are going to start off by turning the fox into a bee. So we're going to add this little body piece with the black and yellow stripes right onto the body. And then we can add some adhesive to the bottom of the head and then layer the head on top just like that. Then we can add the little antenna to the top of the fox's head. Isn't that so cute? And then we're going to layer his arms pointing out. There are arms that also point in, and either one works with all of the different costumes. Then we're going to take those wings, add a little adhesive in the center, and layer it right behind the fox. And now we have the cutest little fox ever dressed up like a little bee. It's just the cutest thing ever. It kind of feels like you're playing paper dolls. Next, we are going to dress up this bunny like a butterfly. So we're going to add the body detail onto the body piece that has the feet. And then this cute little neck puff, I think that just makes it for me. I just think it's just so adorable. We can add the bunny's head right on top of that. And then we can start adding the wings. So we're going to add adhesive towards that center part and then just layer it right behind the bunny. And then we can add the antenna on top of the head like a little headband. And then we're going to add the arms. And this time we're going to use the arms that point in, but you could use either style of arm. And we're just going to tuck those right behind that little neck puff. And now this little bunny has been turned into a butterfly. It's so cute. Now, next up, we have the ladybug. Just like before, we're going to layer the body on. We're going to have the antenna as a little headband on top of the bunny, and then we're going to add these wings, and we're going to add them on the front, but there is a way to add them on the back, and I'll show you that in the first card that we're going to make. And then we can take these little arms and we're going to tuck them under the wings. Like it's almost like this little cape that she's wearing. I think it's so cute. So we're going to add the arms in there, and then we can add the bunny's head on top. We'll add some adhesive to the bottom of the head and then just layer that right there. And now we have the cutest little ladybug, butterfly, and bee, and they can hold that little flower, which I think is just so super cute. You can put it in their paws, you can tuck it behind their hands, you could even put it up in their hair, which I think would be really, really adorable. And so here is a look at that super cute butterfly. There is our ladybug. Like, oh my goodness, isn't that just so cute? And then, of course, we have our bee too. So next up, Shari is going to make the cutest bee card. So take it away, Shari.
So on this card today, we are going to turn Build a Bunny into a cute little bumblebee. So you can see I already have my pieces cut out here, and we need to assemble our bunny bee. So I'm starting with the face. I cut the body from cream cardstock, and I'm using some ballet slipper cardstock to fill in the ears and the nose. I'm using Storm Cloud, which is a dark gray, for the eyes. So this is going to fill in his face. I also need to do his little feet up here, so I have that same ballet slipper cardstock to fill in the little toes and the pads on his feet. And I'm making a sitting down bunny today, so that's why we have his cute little feet that we can see. I thought this would be a fun contrast with the bee outfit. So we need to layer the bee outfit together. We have the yellow stripes that goes over the solid storm cloud cardstock background. And then there's also the cute little antenna, which you could leave just like this if you wanted them all one color, but I love that there's these little details you can add to the ends of the antenna. And I will just go ahead and add this little antenna headband to his head, which I just think is so cute. Now for the body, since I'm making a sitting down bunny, I'm just going to cut off the legs. You might say, why do you even need the body at all? Because the bee body is going to completely cover it up. But of course, I need that little piece at the top where his neck is to connect his head. And then I'm just putting some dots of glue at the bottom, and that's where the feet are going to go. So I like that it looks like those feet are sticking out from underneath the body of the bee. I will go ahead and add his head to that little neck piece that you see there. Finally, we need his arms, and I went with the little outstretched arms so that it could be holding something, which you'll see me add here in just a minute. And I'm just going to clean up that little bit of glue that kind of squished out there. I'm just layering these on the back side of the body. And I will go ahead and add, I cut a little heart out of raspberry cardstock for a bright pop of pink, and that's what my little bunny is going to be holding. And then finally we have the wings, and I cut these from iridescent cardstock so they have some really fun shimmer to them. I think they would also be really cute out of vellum. So here is our cute little bee bunny, and we're going to set him aside while we work on our background. And I'm creating a background with the new Be Happy background stencil. I'm starting out with some mist cardstock, and this is a 4-step stencil that creates these adorable, cute little bees on your background. So I'm starting with stencil number 1. The number is etched in the top right corner, and I'm just lining this up, and I'm just being careful to not cut off the bees too much on the top and the bottom. That's why it took me a minute to line it up. And I'm using some merman ink for the little wings and the trails. That's what this first stencil will create. So I'm going all over with that merman ink and a small blending brush, making sure I get in all those little openings. And then when you peel this away, you get the little trails and the wings. Then moving on to stencil number 2. This one has some etching on it so you can see where to line it up. This is going to be the bodies of the bees. So you want to make sure you line it up perfectly with the wings that you just inked. Now for this one, I'm using 2 colors, which I know sounds really strange. I'm using Sunflower dye ink and Squeeze Lemonade Distress Oxide. But this is the way that I got the perfect color that I love so much, by putting down a layer of yellow sunflower ink first, and you can see it looks a little dingy because we're putting it onto a piece of colored cardstock and it's absorbing in. But I'm going to go back over it with some squeezed lemonade, and that's really going to brighten up the bodies of the bees. Now, I have no idea why this combination works so well. I did try using the squeezed lemonade by itself. It did not have the exact same look, so I wanted to repeat exactly what I did to get these bright, beautiful yellow bumblebees. Now, I did let this dry for a minute or two so that oxide could dry since it sits on top of the cardstock, and I'm going in with stencil number 3. This one, I'm also using a distress oxide, which is a pigment-based ink, so it's going to sit on top of that yellow ink. And I'm using a small foam tool to get into all of those openings. You just want to be careful to not put too much ink down so that it doesn't go underneath the stencil because you want these bees to look perfect and cute. This is going to fill in the stripes, the little stinger, and the eyes. So we have some small areas, but they look so adorable once you pull this stencil away. Just look at those cute little bees. Oh my gosh, they're just so cute. I love them. Now, our fourth and final stencil in this background stencil set is the little hearts. Now, there are lines to line this up, but these are going to be in between the bees. So it doesn't matter quite so much, but we want to add these cute little hearts to this background as well. And I'm using saltwater taffy distress oxide to get a beautiful pink color that really pops on this background. So once I have all those filled in, I'll peel that away and we have those cute little hearts. It's just so adorable. So I will set this aside to completely dry while I work on the sentiment for my card. And I am using the new Henry's Build a Sentiment Honeybee set. And I am going to spell out the sentiment that says, "Don't worry, be happy." So I'm just lining these up because they are on some rectangular bases. You can just butt them right up against each other. These are all of the words, and I will pick this up with my block. And then I always like to add my exclamation point at the end once the words are on the block. I have a sentiment banner cut from Ballet Slippers cardstock. I'm going to stamp this over to the left just a little bit so that I can trim off the right side and make a slightly shorter banner. And here is my little sentiment banner that is going to be on my card. Now I'm ready for assembly. So I'm starting out with a piece of pink spiffy speckles paper. I'm adding this to the card base because I used the largest of the outside in stitched rectangles to cut my mist cardstock that I stenciled my bees on. So it is going to give me a cute little pink border all around my stenciled background. Now I wanted to diffuse this background just a little bit behind my cute little bunny bee, so I'm using a scalloped oval cut from vellum. I'm making sure I put my adhesive only in the center where it's going to be covered up by my little character. And I will just center this onto that background. And it just kind of makes it a little softer where my character will go. Next, I'm adding my sentiment banner with a strip of foam tape so it's popped up, and this is going to give me a little place for my bunny bee to sit. And I will also add foam squares all over the back of my little character here and pop him right in the center of the oval. Now to add some sparkle on this card, I went with the iridescent sequin mix. I'm just shaking it into a little tray so I can kind of look through the different sizes that are in this mix of sequins. There are 3 or 4 different sizes, and I'm just going to sprinkle those around to add some shimmer to this card. Once I get them in place, I'll pick them up with my pick up pokey tool, add a little dot of liquid glue, and then drop them back into place. And then here is my finished card. I love that background with that stencil and that cute little bunny dressed like a bee. So adorable.
I am so in love with this card, Shari, and I love that little bee stencil. It just makes me smile. And next up, we are going to be making a bunny ladybug card. So I have started off by die cutting all of my Build-A-Bunny pieces out of white cardstock, and then the little eye backer I did out of black licorice cardstock. And I'm going to be adding some color with my markers. And I love doing this for a really soft look on my critters. So I'm going dark to medium and then to light. And I'm going really, really scribbly. It's almost like the more scribbly you are, the more it kind of looks like fur. I'm adding some color just to the top neck part and just to the feet because the rest of it's going to be covered up by the costume. And then I'm adding a little bit of detail there to the arms, dark, medium to light. Then for the ear backer, we're going to add some pink and the same thing for the nose backer too. Now that we have color on all of these, we can add some liquid glue to the back of the bunny's face and we can layer in the ear pieces. You'll see that it layers right behind perfectly. Then the eye backer piece is going to line up right with the top piece, and then you can add the little circle for the nose right there. And now we've formed the head of the bunny. I'm going to add some rosy cheeks onto the bunny. There's something about that I think makes it look so, so cute. Then I went ahead and die cut the pieces for the ladybug, and I'm going to do the body of the ladybug a little different this time. We're actually going to use the stripes that's normally for the bee, and we're going to do those out of black licorice cardstock, and then we're doing storm cloud, a dark gray behind it, and I think it's just a fun detail. Grace did this. We're recreating a card by Grace right now, and I thought it was so cute. We're going to layer the little detail pieces to the back of the wings to add the black spots for the ladybug. I added a little too much glue, and so I just used my little pokey tool to get rid of that. And then I'm going to add some liquid glue to the top of the antenna and add the little details on top, which is just adorable. I can't help but smile. It's just so, so cute. Next up, we're going to add some tape runner to the back of the body, and I'm going to layer that on to the body of the bunny. And then we're going to add some tape runner to the top and layer the bunny's head right on top of there. Now I'm going to layer the cute little arms here, and instead of putting the ladybug wings in the front like we did at the beginning of the video, I'm actually going to be layering it behind. And I love that you can do both versions for the ladybug, and both are so cute. So here is what it looks like when the wings are layered in the front. It's like a little cape, but you can also layer them in the back. And to layer them in the back, I actually like to cut the wings apart so that you can really see them. You'll see if you layer it behind, it's a little hard to see them, although it looks really cute, but I like to have the wings kind of out more. So I'm just trimming them, and then I'm adding some adhesive to the back of the bunny, and I'm just going to layer the wings so they're poking out just a little bit more. And there's something about that that I think looks so, so super cute. Look at that little bunny. I mean, just adorable. Now I'm going to add some white gel pen details, little dot to the cheeks, little lines and dots around the curves of the different parts of the bunny's body and costume. And there's something about that that just makes it look so beautiful. Now this ladybug needed some flowers, so we're going to be die cutting the big blossom flowers, which are so pretty, out of some sticky note, algae, and white cardstock. And we're going to be adding a little bit of color to these petals using our Copic markers. We're just adding a little bit of light yellow towards the top and then letting it fade out into the white cardstock. Then we're going to add some adhesive to the top of the flower, and we're going to layer another one on top and then shift it over slightly so that it looks like a really full flower. And then we can add the little flower center on top of that. And we're going to repeat that for all 3 flowers. Then we're going to take the stems and add a little bit of marker to them. And I love doing this to die cut pieces. It just makes them feel so special. We're just doing one marker in about the same color as the pieces and just adding some little lines towards the bottom, and it really gives those leaves like a ton of life. I think it just looks so pretty. And then we're also going to take a white gel pen and add some lines so that it goes along with the white gel pen that we added to our bunny. And then we can take those leaves and just tuck them behind the stem. And we're going to add the leaves in different positions, 2 leaves for one leaf for another. That way they look different on the card, which I think looks really pretty. Now, one of the things I really loved on Grace's card is how she did her sentiment. We're going to be using the Scripty Hello and the brand new Scripty Hello outline add-on, and we're going to die cut it from this red striped paper. It actually comes from a Christmas pack. And then we're going to die cut the actual Scripty Hello from black licorice cardstock. And so it's going to feel like a ladybug, which I think is so cute. So we're going to add some liquid glue to the back of the Hello. You'll see that the outline add-on does that like embossed detail, so you know exactly where to layer your die cut. And look how cute this is. Like, it just feels just like a ladybug. Now, the other thing that I really love that Grace's did is she brought in our cute Hey Lady die cut here. And this is a really fun one. It's the paper piecing style. So it gives you like a base and a frame, and you fill in all of the little pieces. And so we're going to be doing that here with this ladybug. We're going to cover the whole base with our tape runner. We're going to layer on this cute little frame there, and then we're going to pop in all of the pieces to add the color. So we're going to pop in some black licorice pieces for the head and also the body. And then we're going to layer in the little red wings there. And then we can pop in all of those little circles that the die made for us. We're just gonna pop it in to fill them in. And don't they look so cute? And then we're just gonna repeat that again to make a second ladybug. And then we're gonna add some white gel pen details to both of the ladybugs, again, so that everything matches. And again, it just makes the whole thing pop. It's just so pretty. Now for our frame, we're going to be using these reverse scalloped rectangle frames. We're going to use the largest one and die cut that from some white cardstock. And I love these because the scallops on the inside, and I think it's really cute. It's just really adorable for like spring and summer cards. And then we're going to take out some Blissful Blossoms paper, and there's this really nice light green paper. And so we're going to be trimming that down to be 5.5 by 4.25 to layer behind this frame. And so we can just add some adhesive to the back of the frame and then layer that onto the card. Can start to add all of the pieces that we've been working on. So we have this Scripty hello. We're going to add some foam squares to the back of that and then layer that at the bottom of the card. And then we're going to tack all of these flowers with some tape runner behind this cute little word. So it looks like it's coming out of the word. Isn't that so cute and sweet? So we're going to layer those 3 blossom flowers. And then of course we're going to add our ladybug bunny right onto the card. And then we're going to tuck one of these little ladybugs under the frame there. And then we can just use our scissors to just trim off any of that extra. Then the last little finishing touch is going to be this little heart in this bunny. It comes with the bunny, and so we're going to die cut that out of some red cardstock, and we're going to add some white gel pen lines, and then we're just going to layer that in the bunny's hands, which I think is so cute, and I love that it goes along with this whole ladybug red and black theme that we have going on. Then the last thing that we need to do is add another little sentiment. And there is this super cute older stamp set that I love so much. It's so sweet with those fun little ladybugs. And we also have our all the speech bubbles. So we're going to stamp the speech bubble in some black licorice ink. And then we're going to go ahead and stamp the hey lady there. And then just add a little bit of a green shadow with a light green marker on the inside of the speech bubble. Then we can die cut it with the coordinating die. And then we're going to add that to the top. And you don't necessarily need this, but it's really cute to go along with the ladybug theme. Then here's our standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25, and then we can just layer that onto the card base, and now this card is all done, and it just makes me smile. I love dressing up these critters so much, and next up, Shari is gonna blow you away with her super cute cards. So take it away, Shari.
So for this card, I'm using Build a Fox and the new Build a Critter Bug costumes, and we are going to make a butterfly fox. I've also colored and cut out a couple of butterflies from the I Like Big Butterflies stamp set. And I'm going to color the butterfly wings for my fox to match my butterflies that I colored. So we're going to make some rainbow wings. So I cut the layer that goes on top out of some narwhal cardstock, and then I am just going to do some rainbow stripes with my Copic markers onto white cardstock to mimic the colors that I colored on my stamped images. So I'm keeping kind of the warm colors at the top half and the cool colors at the bottom because that's kind of how the breakdown was on the little butterflies I colored. You can see they're in the top left corner. And then I can just add some liquid glue on the back side of the butterfly wings, and I will just layer this behind. You could also ink blend or just use a solid piece of paper to fill in those butterfly wings. Now I need to build my fox, and I'm actually using a new cardstock color for my fox today, which is Sunset Orange, and I just think this is a pretty reddish orange, and I think it made the cutest little fox. So I've layered all the parts of his face together. I am putting the nose on the back side to fill that in, and look at that cute little face. And then of course we have the cute little antenna. I also cut these from some narwhal cardstock, so they're that lighter gray. And I forgot to cut the little things that go on the end of his little beboppers there, so I am going to cut some black cardstock to put on the end of the antenna. I'll just add those with a little dot of glue and then set the little head aside to work on the body. Now I didn't want any extra gray or dark on this because the body of the butterfly will be that dark gray, so I decided to go with some vanilla malt cardstock for the feet and the paws of my fox. Then I am layering the body of the butterfly over top of the body of the fox. And this is cut from Storm Cloud cardstock, so it's a dark gray. And I'm layering this on here now so I can add the little arms next. And I'm going to do the arms that are folded in front. rather than the arms that stick out. So that is why I wanted to go ahead and make sure that that piece of the butterfly body was added. And then once I have these in place, I will add the little paw details, again, cut from that vanilla malt cardstock, so that really creamy white color. And then there's this little collar piece for the butterfly, and I cut that from the narwhal cardstock as well, so we have two shades of gray, and then we can add the head right to the top of that. I just think that's a fun little detail around the neck of our cute little critters. And then finally, we need to add the butterfly wings on the back of our critter. And now he's all done, and I will set all of my little butterflies aside while I work on my background. So to create my background, I am actually using the new grassy pasture backdrop in landscape. I've cut this from a piece of Blissful Blossoms 12 by 12 paper. I like that subtle flower design on this one. And I'm actually going to fold it right there in the center where you can see I've already started the fold. But I want to trim off what's above there. You could also trim between the little cut lines between the grass and the hills, but it was just so easy to just fold that little piece down. And so that's what I'm going to do on this card today. So I'm just folding that and I'm going to crease it. And then I'm going to add some inking to the edges. So I just grabbed my green blending brush and I didn't even get out any extra ink. I just used what was already on there to kind of ink the top. Then I'm going to take my scrap piece that I cut out and kind of tuck it behind that grass at the bottom to just protect what's behind it and just barely ink the top edges, just so that grass sort of stands out. Then I can add all of this to a card base. So I have a piece of spiffy speckles paper. This is that aqua color. I'm just using a scrap, so it's not going to completely cover the background, but I just need it to cover the top part where the sky is going to be. And then I can add my little grass that I created along the bottom. Now I'm just going to make sure that that fold is stuck down with my adhesive runner. And then before I add my frame, I want to stamp the sentiment that says "Have a beautiful day" from the I Like Big Butterflies stamp set. So I'm just adding the frame so I have some placement and I can place my sentiment right down here in the bottom right corner. I'll pick that up with the door of my MISTI and then I will remove the frame while I do my stamping. So once I have that tucked down into the corner, I will just ink up my sentiment with some black ink and stamp it directly onto that pattern paper. And since I use the frame for placement, I know that it's in the right place. Then I can add my frame with some liquid glue, and this will kind of trim out this whole little scene. Now I do end up changing this from the craft cardstock to a gray cardstock later, but we'll talk about that when we get to that point. To add my cute little fox, I have put some foam squares all over the back so it's popped up off the background. And then before I put my butterflies on there, I wanted to stamp some of the little trails just to add some more detail for the butterflies. So I'm going to stamp these in some gray ink. And then I can just add each of my little butterflies with a foam square. I really like how this one at the top is kind of going outside of the frame. And then I will do the same for the one at the bottom, picking a different butterfly trail for that one. I also decided to take those little stamps in the set that say flap and flutter and stamp those as well. They're a really great way to kind of fill in and add some more interest. And then this is where I felt like this just wasn't framed with a dark enough frame. Something was missing. So all I did was cut a new frame from narwhal cardstock, and I'm just going to layer that right over the craft frame. And then I was still feeling like it was a little empty, so of course, adding some hearts always makes everything better. You can see I dumped all my hearts out and I managed to find enough cut out of guava cardstock to fill in where I wanted some hearts. I like that they're going off of the frame too, and they are the perfect place to add some glitter. So I'm adding my glitter to my hearts. I will also add some glitter to the butterfly wings, the little tops of the antenna. And since I added it on the butterfly wings of the stamped butterflies, I also added it to the die cut butterfly wings of the fox. And I added some right under his chin as well, right on that little butterfly collar. And then here is that finished card with the cute little butterfly fox and his little I like a big butterfly friends. I think they turned out so cute. I love their little rainbow wings and the cute little scene that they create.
Oh my goodness, I love the rainbow wings and how you brought in the stamped butterflies. It's just so adorable, Shari. And next up, we are going to make a card with the meadow backdrop. So we're die cutting that from some algae cardstock, and then we're going to do a little bit of inking on it just to give it a fun texture. And so we're going to use some Post-its to help protect the top part of our little grassy hill there. And then we're going to be inking that up with some nice dark green ink. We're going to add a little bit to the top of this hill, and then we're going to add a little bit to the side there just to kind of help blend it out. And by doing that, now we'll have a little bit of a darker part to the top of one hill, and then we can do the rest to the top of the other hill. So you'll see we're just going to add a little bit of that ink, and it's just going to make that cardstock just come to life. Now, we made that little fox in a bee costume earlier, and we thought he needs to be on a card. He's just so cute. So we're making this meadow backdrop for him, and we're going to do some stamping first. And this is the new Henry's Build a Sentiment bee, and it's got all these fun, like bee-themed sentiments in it that are just adorable. So this one says, "You're the bee's knees." And Henry's sentiments are really fun because they all have the same rectangular size base, and so you can butt them up against each other and create custom phrases. And so this one's going to say, "You're the bee's knees," and we're going to ink that up in some black licorice ink and just stamp that at the bottom of this fun little grassy hill. I'm going to take some of that new Giddy for Gingham paper. This is the 12 by 12 size in that beautiful blue, and we're going to be layering that behind this. But before we do that, we wanted to do our stamping so that way there was nothing kind of in the way. So we're going to stamp "Buzzin' by to say, you're the bee's knees," which is so cute. And I love that the sentiment is at the top and the bottom of the card. And then now we can add our foam tape and foam strips to the back of this whole thing. Since we've already stamped our sentiment, we can peel up the liner paper and then layer that over the blue background, and that's going to give it a really fun shadow box feel. And then here we have that bee that we made at the beginning of the video. And so we're going to add some tape runner to the bottom and then some foam to the top so that it's going to match up with the foam that we put behind the backdrop. And then at this point, Rebecca was making this card and she didn't love that the fox's tail was kind of covering up the bee wing. So she decided to remove the tail. You can just imagine that it's behind him and it looks really cute that way too. So either way, it looks just adorable. I mean, isn't that so cute? Now, the meadow backdrop has these little clouds that come with it, and so we're going to use those clouds here just to help fill in the sky. And so we've die cut that from some white cardstock, and then we're just going to take a light blue marker and add a little bit of lines just around all of those curved edges. It's going to give it some fun dimension, and then we can go ahead and add some tape runner to the back of these and then layer it into the sky. And I think this just makes it look so cute. We're going to tuck one of the clouds just right down by him and then up towards the top, and it just fills in that whole area. Then here we have our standard size card base that's 5.5 by 4.25. We're going to add some tape runner to that and then just layer this whole panel on top. And now this card is all done. It is so cute. This card is the bee's knees. It's just adorable, and dressing up these little guys is so much fun. And next up we have some incredible cards by the design team. First up, we have this super cute card by Tammy. It's so adorable. You can see she dressed up our bunny. She put him in a little teacup, and she used our brand new jam and honey add-on for our mason jar to make this super, super sweet card. I can't wait to make one just like it. This card by Callie is so fun. She put both the ladybug and the butterfly together with that Scripty smile. Oh my gosh, it's just so cute and sweet. This card here by Audrey is amazing, and I love how she used that really awesome honeycomb stencil to make the perfect area for her fox bee. Here is the card by Grace that inspired us to make ours today. I think it is just so sweet, and I love that ladybug. And then here are the cards that Shari made in this video, and I love this little bee bunny sitting down. I mean, it's so cute with that fun stencil background, and then this little rainbow-winged fox, and then also with his little butterfly friends. It's just so sweet. So we cannot wait to see all of your critters and all of their super cute bug costumes, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!